Okay, so what strategies can parents use to regulate their emotions in difficult
Mhm.
moments so they don't unintentionally pass down cycles of trauma to their children? Oof, that's a good one.
It is a good one. I think it's being aware, taking breaks, sharing with your partner or whoever you're parenting with, or if it's by yourself, like I need a break right now.
Yeah.
Learning to like tag team, um, learning the finding the resources for yourself. Like, do you need a therapist? Do you need a coach to work with you? Are you getting what you need in regards to like exercise, friendship? Like, find it like time for your own friendship and
Yeah.
your own relationships. I think that we have to take care of ourselves, and really, if it's in the moment, taking that break, stopping yourself and walking away, especially when things are really, really off the. I remember one point during COVID, my stepson lived with us, and he moved in like I guess a year before that happened, and it was a rough time. He was really struggling. He
Yeah.
struggled at home, and that's why he came with us. And he was a teenager, and it was just really hard for teens. COVID
Oh,
was really
man.
junior, senior during that time. And at one point, I was not my best self, and I had this pan in my hand, and I like literally almost threw it, and I was like, I need to take a break and walk
Yeah.
away. And that was a rough time for all of us, but it was so hard for me to stop, and so many times our brains just want to
Indicator is I could just feel myself. It just felt like I would be filled with frustration or anger. And I learned through the hard way that if I keep going, it doesn't get better. It doesn't get
keep.
better, it gets worse. And then it turns into a full blown screaming match,
Yeah.
probably. And what I learned is I do exactly that. I go, you know what? I just need a minute. I just need to kind of step away for a minute and I need to
Mhm.
process this. And that has been such a godsend for me because it gives me that moment of clarity of like, okay, am I being triggered? Is my anger justified? Is this, high intense anger justified? And then it helps me clarify that, and then it helps me come up with the answer. And then, like you say, I go back and clean up the mess.
And I think that's really good what you said. You were in touch with your body. And I think a lot of us aren't in touch with how our body's feeling. And there's so much, and that's another thing that wasn't really talked about years ago, is the mind body connection. Really paying attention to that. Like, what is your body feeling? Like,
Yeah,
you gave a good example just now of just like, what is my body feeling like? What does that anger feel like? And some people don't even know, a lot of people do not know what anger feels like in their body.
I know.
Where it's hard. And if you've never talked about it or you didn't grow up with that kind of language, you're not going to even think about that. But I do this exercise with kids a lot of like where they'll feel different emotions in their body. Like, where do you feel happiness in your body? Where do you feel sadness? And it is remarkable about how, and it's a little coloring sheet I do. But it's so amazing of where some kids can really show me and other kids have no idea.
Ooh.
So it's really, really interesting. But I love doing that with them. I love doing that activity and just meeting them where they are with it and then just going from there. But it's an activity an adult can do too. Anybody, really. Like, where are you feeling these feelings in your
Exactly.
body?
And I share that because I want to help listeners identify those feelings in their body because and where I really felt it the first time, it wasn't even that long ago. It was like maybe a year ago, and it was
Hmm.
situation happened, and I it was instantly I went from calm to the only way I can describe it, and I literally slowed down and really paid attention to how it felt because I was like, this is something, and I need to share this. And that is I felt the anger in every part of my body. That's the only way I can describe it. It was like it completely consumed me. And that's what got my attention because that reaction or that feeling did not line up at all with what was going on. But it did. It
Yeah.
felt like every part of my body had anger in it. It
Interesting.
was interesting. And that was the first time I ever really noticed it to that degree. And when I started to feel, I'm like, okay. And my first reaction was, of course, to overreact. And I'm like, no, can't do that. So I thought, no, feel this, feel this. What does this feel like? And I'm like, oh my gosh, it is like there's no place in my body that I didn't feel anger.
Wow.
And so I kind of verbalized it a little bit, not inappropriately, and then I just stood back and I just I do my breathing exercises.
Yeah.
And that helped bring it down. And then I understood. And what it was is I felt disrespected. The person that did what happened did not intentionally at all
Right.
mean to disrespect me. But I had to go, okay, why did I react so over the top? And 100% it was because I felt disrespected. And it goes back to that little girl in me. When she felt disrespected, I could take it right back to even a story. It was crazy.
Isn't that interesting? And you know, when I can feel that is when I can figure out why I'm being triggered, I'll want to cry.
Yeah.
And that's how I know. And you probably felt that. That's how you know. You're like, that's it. That's what the trigger is.
Yeah.
Because you'll hear yourself get emotional. And I'll be like, okay, that's why I'm upset right now.
Yeah, and it's
If
intense.
Yes. That's always my my clue of like what it is triggering me.
Yeah, especially when you go from you're calm to whoa, over the
Yeah.
top. I mean, it was so obvious to me. I think God was showing me, here, watch this, and I just kind of sat back and I did, and it did not feel good, and it was just like, God, I got to get this feeling out of me, because it was just so overwhelming. But I also knew at that moment I had the ability and power to turn this around. That this thing, it wasn't just taking control of me.
Yeah.
But I'm sharing this because I want the listeners to understand this is how it feels. And so start paying attention to your body. It is going to talk to you. It's going to tell you.
It does.
Right?
Yeah. When I get anxiety really bad, I can feel that. That's something that I can feel
In the chest.
And it's like, yeah, I feel it here, and it's like this shaking feeling. So I can feel that. Like I can identify most feelings now, but that wasn't a natural thing for me. That was something I've worked on for years, is
Right.
being able to feel the body and feel what's happening in it.
Yeah, part of that was the way we were raised. We weren't allowed to share
Yes.
our emotions, and like you said,
Yeah,
we're
no.
both dramatic. We're over the top. We're too much. No, I'm just emotional. Please work with me.